This morning, we've been joined by a lawyer and a professor from the camps of NDC and NPP to help us review the various stories captured in the newspapers. I have with me Dr. Sharif Ahmed Khalid, Associate Professor of Accounting and Finance, and lawyer Enoch Afuakwa from the NPP Communications team. Gentlemen, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
How are we feeling?
We are feeling better.
Good? Prof?
Afuakwa is branding a green kaftan
in
solidarity of the manifesto, the youth manifesto the NDC launched
a
few days back. Thank you, Afuakwa.
Oh, it's going to be a good morning this morning. Have you met like this before on a common platform like this?
Yeah, on TV3.
Okay, great. Yeah. All right, so let's...
And we started together.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, you're familiar with each other. Okay, let's get into your thoughts. I'll start with you, Prof. I haven't seen you in a while. What have you been up to? And
we've been on the campaign trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and as you see, this morning we would be running mate, the erudite Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, would be on the campaign trail in the key markets within Accra.
Okay.
So Kaneshi Market, Makola Market, and the Malanata Market to engage with market women and to actually outdoor the policy of the Women Development Bank, the 24-hour economy, and among key other salvaging policies that the NDC has in store for the good people of Ghana.
Okay. Enoch.
Sweetie.
What's on your mind?
When I say sweetie, it sounds of something. So let me say Abuchi.
No. It's my name. I'm Sweetie. Everybody knows it's my name.
And so probably the people who don't know you are Sweetie may say that, hey, why is a gentleman calling Sweetie on your show?
It's fine. Whichever makes you comfortable.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Let me say a very good morning to yourself and to Dr. Khalid, and extend the greetings of His Excellency the President and that of the incoming President, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to the good people of this country through your platform. He's really praying for the good people of this country to be in full hope that his presidency will deliver the needed glory for the people of this country as the current administration has started the foundation in pushing Ghana into the fourth industrial revolution. So certainly, we know that the good people of this country will confirm the presidency of Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia because he is the one that possesses the superior policies that will transform this country into a better place and move us into the fourth industrial revolution. All
right. Be that as it may, let's get into the newspapers. I'll start from the Daily Graphic. On the front page, I'll build a prosperous nation. That is according to Alan Sherman-Teng. Present circumstances must influence your votes, Tabiapede, saying that over there. Inflation eases to 20.9% in July. Food inflation also declines sharply. Public lands secure. We brought you that story in a news bulletin earlier about the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources saying that contrary to allegations that they're trying to capture state lands, they're rather trying to secure them for investment and other development projects. And we'll get into that story a bit. GJA is 75 years old today. Congratulations. Quantum New Gas committed to cylinder recirculation model. Let me start from the story on page 3 about public lands being secure. The government has been acquiring new lands to supplement public lands for the development needs of the country. The Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Samuel Abu Jinapor, who disclosed this yesterday, it was a press meeting at the Information Ministry, said the government had also put in place measures to protect existing public lands. And Mr. Jinapor, who was addressing the public on the state of public lands, mentioned the acquisitions include 13,230 acre land at Afienya, Dowenya for an industrial enclave and urban development, and 509 acre land between Afienya and New Akrade for railway development. And then there's a 237 acre land in Tamale for the University of Development Studies. First story. Let me do 3 stories before I come to you, gentlemen, and then we can have a conversation. And then I'll get into what Alan Sherman-Teng is saying on page 13. They're saying he will build a prosperous nation. The founder and leader of the Movement for Change, Alan Kojo Sherman-Teng, has said his vision is to build a prosperous, united, and peaceful country that provides equal opportunities for all, particularly the youth, women, and vulnerable groups to realize their full potential and improve their livelihoods. Mr. Sherman-Teng, who intends to contest the December 7 election as an independent presidential candidate, also urged the electorate to break the New Patriotic Party and the National Democratic Congress duopoly. He's also launched that great transformational plan, which is his manifesto on what he intends to do differently for the country if he's voted into power. Mahama tours the Volta region. He says present circumstances must influence your vote. That is according to Togui Apede. In politics, no need for vice president to step down, according to some experts. And I see the photo of Dr. John Osai Kwapon there. It's an editorial. NDC launches manifesto on August 24th in the central region. Let me see what's happening on the back page. I want one major story and then we can go. Talogana hands over 180-bed dormitory to Methodist Senior High School. See Something, Say Something campaign intensified in the Upper East region. And there's an open letter to the IGP here. Fake news, police arrest, and related matters. Let me read just excerpts of that. We met at the Ghana report. Okay, this is a long read. I can't just take excerpts from that. But gentlemen, two questions on my mind. Do both of you consider Alan Kyerematen a formidable force that could tip the scales in this election? Because he's been actually saying a lot. And I'll take your reactions on what Abu Jinapor has been saying on the public lands being secure, contrary to what the narrative has been, that they're rather capturing state lands. I'll start with you, Prof.
Right. That's quite a very misleading headline, as far as I'm concerned, and tying it to the content. And again, you'd see a very hatchet job that has been done. And these days, I get very disappointed in the Daily Graphic. I think that his editor ought to be careful in how he's driving the editorial content and direction of this paper, because that's very important. It spans decades, and you just don't want to use some form of political expediency for whatever reason it is to mislead the public on some key issues like that. When you started to read it, it's a public land secured. That's a screaming headline. As though the public lands...
That's what he said.
As though the public lands... Yeah, I'm coming to this. As though the public lands in cantonments, the public lands in prime Accra is the one we're talking about here. But you start to read and you're mentioning Dowenya and other places that are periphery of Accra. How is that reflective of public lands being secured? But we are talking about the purchases that has been made in the last couple of years to cronies, which is evident for all to see. The last debacle we saw was the attempt to annex a chain of hotels by a sitting minister. So how is this headline any reflective of what its content is? So this is a shame, actually, when we begin to do some of these things. But I know I do understand it's an election year. Then again, you come to where you'd see a string of a hatchet job being done is that you pick the Daily Graphic, so the Daily Guide, which we all know where it's coming from, and it holds the same headline. Your listeners could see that. I say public land secured. So it means that this is actually, a sort of media project that has been put in place to run amok for the rest of the week to say that. And it's so poor a job to have come from a national daily such as the Daily Graphic. And for me, I'll continue to say this until the editor sits up with the team to really do a good thing about this. All tabloid press that has their affiliations or leanings to other political parties can do what they're doing. But our national daily, the Daily Graphic, shouldn't be doing that. That's the people's paper. And I think that they ought to refrain from actually misleading the public and trying to do the bidding of a sitting government or a said name political party. As you agree with me as a journalist and a professional, the content does not sync with the headline. And that is unfortunate. So public lands are not secured. They are rather even acquiring more. They are rather even acquiring more.
For development.
For development. So how does that reflect?
Railways,
yeah, so how is that anything to do with public lands secured and safe?
According to what I'm reading here, they're saying that contrary to the allegations, they're rather securing more lands to propel their development.
So how does that what happens to the existing?
So they've secured the lands rather than...
The concerns of Ghanaians is what is happening to prime existing lands.
Okay.
Not the acquisition of new lands
within
peripheral
Accra. We have
for development.
A member of the communications team here. So,
I believe Dr. Khalid is trying to just turn the story around.
The story speaks for itself.
No, the story doesn't speak for itself. months ago, the NDC started an agenda to smear the Akufo-Addo-Bawumia administration in a mantra called state capture. And in their assertion that the NPP is appropriating state lands to its cronies, assigns, and privates. And the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources yesterday met the press. And I wonder why, Sweetie, you were not there. And he put forth the bare facts as far as the so-called lands
I just wanted to put something in context. You said propaganda called state capture.
Yes.
And I just wanted to chip in this quickly. The meaning of state capture is a type of systemic corruption.
Oh, so you are
whereby
ready,
I just want
okay,
I want to put it in context and then ask a follow-up question on why you say it is propaganda.
I'm not even done with my initial submission.
That's why I said chip
you just
in.
cut in and decide to read something to me.
Yes, I just said chip in, right?
Continue.
Good. So
our viewers are just continue.
State capture is a type of systemic corruption whereby narrow interest groups take control of the institutions and processes through which let's leave it there. Take control of institutions and processes that are supposed to be owned by the state.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So certainly, you remember Okudzeto Ablakwa started a journey. And the journey was to smear the Akufo-Addo administration with an allegation that assigned agents and privy of this government are appropriating to themselves vested lands that the president is entrusted by the constitution, the laws of the republic, to manage for and on behalf of the people of this country. He mentioned that even the judicial service bungalows and their lands have been sold to private developers. Parks and gardens lands have been sold to private developers, and there are a couple of others. And yesterday, what the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the sector minister in charge of lands, sought to put out was the bare facts, the records to the good people of this country as far as the so-called allegation, the seemingly state capture allegation that was smeared on the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government is concerned. And for the purpose of your viewers, let us clarify some of these positions. In 2015, 13th July 2015, the government of Ghana then, with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, headed by Neo Samuels, Minister Honorable Neo Samuels, sold these state bungalows belonging to the Judicial Service to Frames Oil Limited and executed the leads here too. To the said developer, Frames Oil. But under these circumstances, it was stated as if this property was leased onto Frames Oil by the Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration. Secondly, on the Parks and Gardens lands, it was Mr. Evisefi Yankra who wrote a letter to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources then, asking that the minister releases 2 acres of land belonging to Parks and Gardens for it to be sold, so that the proceeds of those sales will be used to build a new office complex, supply them with the needed equipment and logistics that they need, and their rates. And as of today, Parks and Gardens don't have a new office. Parks and Gardens do not have the water tankers that was promised them. They do not have the tractors that this sale, the proceeds of this sale were to be used in procuring these tractors and these hand tools that will be used in performing their duties as far as their holding as an agency of the state is concerned. So we ask Honorable Evisefi Yankra then, the Minister for Deputy Minister for Local Government and Rural Development in 2012-2013, that where is the money realized from the sale of the 2 acres of the Parks and Gardens land at Cantonment?
Your point is that you are supporting what the minister is saying. The lands have not been captured.
Absolutely.
Secure, like
as has been churned out. Okay, and on the Achimota Forest lands and the like, the minister sought to put out the bare fact.
That's his point.
The minister sought to put out. And even the minister added, the minister added, I'm coming, when you were talking about, the minister added, look, let me land here. Let me land here. The minister added that the state is even buying more lands in addition to aid or augment our developmental needs. And as you rightly put out, over 13,000 acres of land have been purchased in Afenya.
I didn't put, I read it.
Yes, you read it. So certainly you put it out. Certainly you read it out. Over 13,000, over 257 acres in Tamale for the University for Development Studies. Over 500 acres around Afenya for the Ghana Railway Development Corporation and the likes. And certainly, one government is protecting the land and government is buying more land. Where lies the assumption? Where lies the presumption that the government is appropriating state lands and invested lands for himself?
But that's a very important point that we need to make here. And the evidence screams at all of us. I'm not going to sit here and rattle from a hymn book of what is what and what is not. Sir John, who passed away recently, may his soul rest in peace, as head of Forestry Commission, we saw what happened to forestry lands, virgin lands, sacred groves, and all of that. Willed in perpetuity to a family. They blaze. What are they doing on prime sea lands? right? Today,
I have a question.
Today, the security services, the police, who were in the heart of the city, protecting us, has been taken to the periphery, from cantonments and airports, right? So what are we talking about in the sale of land to cronies?
So there's 4 months to elections.
Yes.
I want us to get into as many stories as possible within the short time that we have. So please, let's move on from
there. So for the evidence is there for the good people of Ghana.
So we'll leave it to our discerning audience. Leave it to our discerning audience.
Let's be fair. Let's be fair in this matter. He mentioned the police.
I'll have to mute.
No, you see, certainly.
There's 4 months
let's
to
be fair in our comments.
Alan Kyerematen, you had your time. Let's move on from this. Alan Kyerematen says he's going to build a prosperous nation. He intends to do this with 40 cabinet ministers, and so on and so forth. The question I posed was, do you see him and the other smaller, there's also, Cheddar, there's small parties like the PPP and the rest. Do you see them, also on the back of the economic woes we're experiencing? The NDC and the NPP, if you're comparing, you've both had your fair share of corruption, allegations, mismanagement and all that. Do you think this time, 2024, these smaller parties have a chance or might tip the scales in terms of results from this election? What do you say?
I support Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
Oh, okay.
And my support for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia stems from his forward-thinking policies that will augment and propel our nation into the fourth industrial revolution. Come to think of it, if Dr. Bawumia is telling us that he is going to bring in the Estonian model of taxation, where like business owners, where like citizens are going to have a flat tax rate in order to enhance their planning, in order to enhance their business, in order to make them competitive, in order to make us think better as far as management of our resources are concerned, then I believe that this is the person that I need to support and support to win the election.
You don't think
again,
any power?
If Dr. Bawumia is telling us, and promising us that he's going to make sure that he harmonizes our import duties to that of the Port of Lome to make the Port of Ghana very competitive, I believe that he is the right man to be able to propel the future of our country. Coming from a mining community.
I understand that we are in an election year.
No, you're asking me a simple question and I'm asking. No,
yes,
I will land. No, I will land on your question. Certainly.
We have a specific duration of time.
I am coming to your answer. Right. But I just can't jump into it. So you ask me, Enoch, how are you? Then I just mention Enoch is fine. Then I sit down and keep quiet.
But I need to make.
I need to make sure. So allow me.
The plot in Adabraka. They give them a script. He has to stick.
Adabraka. Your office is at Adabraka. We don't have Adabraka office.
Okay, land on your point.
Certainly, coming from a mining community, Obuasi, where Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is promising that he is going to make sure that Ghanaians take over our natural resources, the 100% ownership, to make our nation prosperous. Creating the National Resource Bank, the Natural Resource Bank, to enhance our brothers and sisters who are into the mining sector, make sure to become competitive and be able to invest more and get the revenues and make sure this revenue stay in our country. For the government of Ghana to also get tax revenue to develop this country. Okay. I see this person as a forward-thinking person who has superior, more qualities than any of these competitors. So certainly, whether Alan Kyerematen, John Dramani Mahama, they will not make any impact in this elections.
Because they are political parties. Do you think they will some power to tip the scales in this election?
Well, I mean, sweetie, it's only fair for me to make a quick response as to what he's raising.
And you also have just a minute.
Which is fair enough, right? I mean, to start talking about a Estonian model of taxation, I wonder where they're coming from this dimension and talking about labeling themselves economic whiskey and like that. The population of Estonia is 1.3 million. Compared to a population of 30+ million people, they're talking about flat rate taxation. Where are you coming from with this model? And possible. How practical is this?
No, it is possible.
No, you don't get to speak now. This is his time.
So, carrying examples that are not fit for purpose and bringing them lock, stock, and barrel without actually having a full appreciation of them is not what we're doing this morning. Then again, you're talking about Lome, comparing your ports to Lome. Lome is a free port, as you like it. And what you have here is adherence to what the practices of the port system in Lome. So how are you going to implement that within the short span of time?
Okay.
That said, Alan Kyerematen is coming from the stock of the NPP. Right. If he had anything to prove as far as his transformational policies are concerned, the engine of the economy was in his hands at the Trade Ministry. Right? Because he was the Minister of the Economy, Trade. What did he do? What legacy did he leave? Right. We left a factory that we invested so much in Comenda, which was under his ministry. right, that was probably possibly about 70% plus completion, that has ancillary facilities. Back in the day, under Osage for Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Commander land was prime land because of what? The sugar factory. So if a government comes in, revives it, put investments in it, all you needed to do was to get it running. And you've not been able to develop or deliver that under your tenure as trade minister, then I'm wondering what transformational policy he has to offer as far as issues are concerned.
Let's get into some other stories
on the national developmental scale.
Okay.
So then,
so you don't think that they wield any power either? That's
well,
that's
I mean, in Ashanti, I see him doing a very good job.
In Volta region, he'll be doing a very good job in Volta region.
In Ashanti region.
Certainly. That's why Mahama is crying in Volta region. That votes are dropping.
But what allegiance has Alan Chiamati got to the Volta region?
So certainly.
If the total vote cast for this year's election was, I mean, just I'm just speaking hypothetically, was about 100 votes. And if the NDC and NPP would have shared that, whether 50-50, 60-40, I don't know, Alan Chiamati and these other parties have the power to take some of these votes from your, what you would have got.
Dr. Bawumia will take the majority of the votes.
So I get that you don't want to acknowledge.
Dr. Bawumia will take the majority of the votes. Certainly, Dr. Bawumia is taking
the Daily Statesman says, Kolebu to receive new dialysis machine. Mahama unhappy with Volta region over NPP's growing popularity. I don't know what this headline is. Ameyao Ekumfi urges NPP to revise campaign strategy. And then there's a story about public lands here as well. Inflation for July down to... Let's actually get into the story of inflation a bit before we continue with the politics. It's on page 6 of the Daily Statesman. And it reads, inflation for the month July tumbled to 20.9%, representing a decline of 1.9 percent points from that of June, which was 22.8%. And according to the Ghana Statistical Service, food inflation went down to 21.5% from 24% in June 2024, while non-food inflation also fell to 20%. And the government statistician, Professor Samuel Kobineni, was addressing the press, and he says that inflation on imported items also dropped from 15.6% from 17 to 5%. And he's attributing these to the stability of the cedi in July 2024, and that's where I end.
Yeah, see.
These figures, are they reflecting in the pockets of the ordinary Ghanaian?
No, I mean, I wouldn't start with the premise of them even reflecting in the pockets of Ghanaians. We're under an IMF program.
Right.
So we ought to give credit where credit is. Right. So in terms of stability or any significant program or impact of it, it's thanks to an IMF program that we are on. So
that's where the credit goes.
That's where the credit goes. I mean, evidentially, what has this government done in the last 7 years to merit any change in our statistical progress as far as inflation, currency stability is concerned? This is a government that has a central bank in a very long while posting losses. This is a government that superintended over a domestic debt exchange program.
And the finance minister says they're
no,
sorry that...
Yeah, so it's not about them being sorry. So all of this...
And it was necessary in order for us to begin recovery
all of this,
based on COVID-19, Russia-Ukraine war. I'm just telling you what they say.
But how many countries in the world has gone through a domestic debt exchange post-COVID? Right? Where in the bond spree market, what has Ken's reckless bond spree market spree, as we say, brought to the good people of Ghana in terms of return on investments, the whatever bonds, the Dachi bonds and what have you, what have we to prove for it as a people? Nothing. So if these were the investments that were changing, rates of inflation.
Can you get it on national television and calculate return on investment as far as some bonds are concerned?
Let him land. What are the best factors? I'll come to you shortly. I'll come to you shortly. Make note of your points. Please land on your points, Prof, and I'll come to you shortly.
Yeah. So, I mean, and we went to the IMF with our tail in between our legs. Never in the history of this country, when they would say, oh, we are going to the IMF for the 16th time, has a country ever struggled to get, usually it's boilerplates, tick box exercises. The tranches come as and when. They come freely without any inhibitions. But under this government, what happened? We threw the market off. Speculations were heightened because they couldn't access tranches. The international community lost confidence in us, in our international market, as far as our finances are concerned. The bond market lost confidence in us. And today, all of that reflecting the economic woes we have, which is why you're asking the fundamental question of whether this is reflecting our pockets. Obviously, it can't reflect in our pockets.
Yes, hold for me. Prof is saying that the credits for the drop in inflation goes to the IMF.
Yeah. And the domestic exchange program.
It is only at the NDC that speaks with boilerplate clauses. When they are speaking, you see some ingredients of party communication that because they want to come to take over the reins of government, certainly they must hit down the prospects of government and the achievements of government in all sectors to let the government look bad in the eyes of the Ghanaian people. Certainly you cannot appropriate and reprobate at the same time. He is saying that it is as a result of the IMF program. That is why inflation is coming down and all there is. And certainly he's coming back. The same IMF program that gave us the opportunity to also do the painful domestic debt exchange program and the external debt exchanges and those things. They are alluding that to government. He was here saying that return on investment and those things, the bonds that were procured never saw the light of day because of return on investment. What are the facts for you to assess the relevance of return on investment as far as that?
So show us the evidence.
The evidence are that from 2021 coming, we have recorded trade surpluses. These are evidence enough. Certainly, in
trade surpluses tied to bond market.
Not tied to bond surplus. Not tied to bond. You are saying, but the economy is doing well.
No,
if the government borrows
trade
to invest in the economy,
tied to bond markets. Where's the correlation?
Please let me make my
Go on. You are on your time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sweetie, let me understand that inflation rose as far as 54.something%.
Who took us there?
It's as a result of COVID-19, and it's all countries in the world suffered. UK, even the Conservative Party suffered vigorously as far as this Russia-Ukraine impasse and COVID-19 were concerned. President Mahama admitted in Harvard University the ravages of COVID-19 around the world and even in Ghana and those kind of things. But when they come to Ghana, they sing a different song, as if they are not in this country, as if they are not part of the African continent. Certainly, with all that has happened...
Why are you quoting President Mahama out of context?
I'm not quoting out of context.
Let him land. You have
with all that has happened, government has been able to manage the economy well. And now, the prudent management that government put in place is showing, the signs are showing, the symptoms. It's evident to show that, yes, inflation that was at 54.something% is now around 20.9% in July. It's certainly going forward. The target of bringing inflation down to 15% by December is achievable. It's highly achievable.
So we started from 50-something, right?
54.something.
54.something%, which the same government took us there. And you're saying that it's because of Russia and Ukraine war, COVID-19.
And which year were we at 54? Which year were we at 54?
Hold on. And you're saying that your target by the end of this year is 15%.
15%, yes.
Yet, the hike in food prices continues to whip us. I don't want to say the words in my head this morning. I went to Ajin Kotoku to do a follow-up on why the governments demolished the place at Old Agbogloshi Onion Market and relocated them to Ajin Kotoku. And they were practically wailing that they would buy a bag. They used to buy a bag of onion for 200, 300, at most 450 cedis. Now at Ajin Kotoku, they are buying one bag of onion for 1,600 Ghana cedis. So yes, you're telling us that it has dropped, and NDC is saying that it is because of IMF. Regardless of that, the people, where do we come in?
No, what I'm saying, apart from it being, the artificial nature of it is that you're asking a fundamental question. Why is it not reflecting in the good people?
I'm asking both of you this question.
It can't reflect because it's artificial.
It is reflecting because...
Are you saying it is reflecting?
It is reflecting. What was the price of...
I'll borrow Enoch's notes from Asylum down to help.
No. Me. What was the price of this gallon? Is it the Frito gallon or something of oil? In 2022, thereof, what was the price then? And what is the price?
Tell us.
Certainly, it rose to about 1,500 thereof, and now currently it's around 400 or 500 cedis.
Are you serious?
I don't know. Currently, it is about.
I would definitely go out.
It is about.
Get your production.
It is about.
No. Get your production.
Certainly, it is not as it is.
And if you can check for me,
you remember the price.
Check this. Yeah, please.
No, you remember the price of diesel. A liter of diesel rose to I think 23 cedis or 22 cedis then. Currently, what is the price per liter of diesel in our country now?
Tell us.
Even as much as it has gotten up, it is not even up to...
I like that you said even as much as it has gone up.
Yes,
Let's get into other stories.
It is not as it
what does the Daily...
in 2022.
I'll let you do one story from the Daily Guide newspaper.
Yes, so certainly, it says that government is showing, the economy is showing
one story from the
some signs of...
Well, it says that Ghana will be better under my husband. The last time she spoke that her husband was an economic whiskey, we all saw where it ended as. Right, head of economic management team. What has he to reflect? as being an economic whiz kid. He's now running on to be an IT guru. He's living the economic pontification, the lectures he used to. I mean, the self-acclaimed lectures at the Central University College, the artificial platform that was created for him. All the solutions have suddenly disappeared, and today he's become the driver's or whatever mate it is, driving. He's been given steers in magazines to wheel around and become a dancing whiz kid as well, instead of actually pontification the real issues of the economy, the bread and butter matters that we all used to talk about. So today, if you tell us that the economy will be better under your husband, we'll swallow this with a pinch of salt, because the last time you came out labeling your husband as an economic whiz kid, we also saw where it took us. Under his reign as head of the economic management team, which they often run away from. You touted someone in opposition as an economic whiz kid. He's now head of economic management team. And you run away from it and you want to call him an IT guru. And he himself says that, oh, I was not in charge. I was only a driver's mate.
Please land it.
Yeah, so
right.
What a concession.
Let's do your story and then you can react to that.
I can react. Okay.
Give me one story. That's the Custodian newspaper.
Oh, the Custodian newspaper. Mahama cries in voter over drop in votes, and with his handkerchief, wailing in tears.
Oh, but if you take
that photo
is from the Mills.
From the voter region.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, this is Mahama cries in voter over drop in votes, and this is a picture of President Mahama, former President Mahama.
And you believe that's a current picture in the voter region?
With his handkerchief.
So you believe that's a current picture in the voter region?
My review of it is that the NPP
don't
has
promote hatchet media jobs.
Oh,
no, don't do that.
We have 2 minutes, please.
Don't do that.
My review of this is that the voter region has seen the light of day as far as development is concerned. The Eastern Corridor Road, that President Mahama took a Ford Expedition car from Jibril Kanazuri, that never saw the light of day. President Akufo-Addo has constructed it and handed over to the people of the voter region. President Mahama has completed the Youth Resource Center in Ho for the people of the voter region. President Akufo-Addo,
now weed infested.
President Akufo-Addo has constructed the biggest, the University of Health and Allied Sciences.
Make that your final words, and then I'll come
phase
to
2 project has completed the phase 2 project, which houses the biggest midwifery and nursing school in West Africa. President Akufo-Addo has completed that for the voter region. President Akufo-Addo has invested massively in infrastructure development in the voter region. So President Mahama has seen the threat as far as these developments are concerned, and what the voter region will do come December 2024.
We wait to see.
To appreciate the New Patriotic Party for the great achievement in infrastructure and for social services in the voter region, for the people of the voter region.
With corruption and a minister superintending over a malnourished ministry such as sanitation, stashing troves of cash in her home, right? That smacks of massive corruption. And you are here talking about a Ford Expedition that was on a presidential fleet used on national security duties. Then I don't know what you're talking about. You talk about... Show us where
the presidential fleet of vehicle that is used by national security show us.
Anyone.
No, show us.
Anyone.
Because you are an academic.
Anyone.
You can't say anything without citing authority. Show us proof of where these vehicles are starting. Indeed.
But anyone.
Indeed, your own
brother-in-law.
He was interacting. No, he was interacting. Were you not here?
But anyone with a full appreciation of gift culture and what have you, who believes that the Ford Expedition was a bribe is on you. In any case, as I say, what development? Who took UHAS? Who created the University of Allied Sciences? Who created the University for Energy in Sinyane? How many universities have you created in almost 8 years being in office?
Oh, so let's go into that.
So we are talking about the
University of Mines and Technology in Takwa, after grant.
You
initiated.
Yes, after grant.
That's me.
After grant was initiated.
After all, so it's...
Are you serious?
We are going to be seeing this passionate argument from both political parties. But before we go, please, we are done. We are done. This is the end of it. And before we go, let me send out these dedications. Happy birthday to Augustina Ferry, a.k.a. Baby Ya of Enoch's Glass Foster Junction, Fafara. Mommy, thank you so much for everything. May God bless you and grant you all your heart's desires. I love you. Let me do my dedications, gentlemen. Prof, Enoch, come on, please. Thank you. I love you from your daughter, Mariam Awojifa. Please mute them. Can you mute them, please? Great. And another one going on to Kion and Kiona. They are 2 years old. Happiest birthday to both of them. May the Lord shine his face upon them. May you grow to be beautiful and handsome in the Lord. Amen. This is from Auntie Mimi, and she says she loves you so much. Before we go, this segment is always brought to you by Endpoints Homeopathic Clinic, and they're offering free prostate screening and free fertility screening at their various locations. In Accra on the Springtex Road opposite the Shell signboard. In Kumasi, Kronoma Buenya behind the Angel Educational Complex. In Takrady Anaji Estate in Tema Community 22. In Techiman, Hanswa, in Esiama, in Zima. And you can call them on 0244-867-068 or 0274-234-321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. And I just want to say that we are citizens, and so we reach the point where we are so uncomfortable that we actually require or demand change. We'll be fed the same thing all over again. This election year, this coming December 2024, listen very attentively with a discerning mind what each party is saying and be the judge for yourself. Don't let anyone just spew or wax lyrical and convince you and tell you things that are... You have to check. Anyway, sport is coming up next.